All right, it is 8:41. The question I have on the table is if one of your kids came out to you or a family member came out to you, would you embrace them or would you reject them? One. Number two, would you go to the wedding? If they said, we're getting married and we're in a state that has legal marriage, so we're getting married, you're invited, I want you to be at my wedding as I make what for me is the most important commitment of my life. 841. Let me go. 656-8255, 1-800-951-8255. Pound 98.7 is a free call for customers of U.S. Cellular. And, of course, you can hit me on Twitter at Hallerin. And, by the way, the whole notion of marriage being the place where procreation happens, Ted Olson doesn't mention any of that. He says marriage has a long-term benefit to society. When two individuals enter into that, it's good for society. And it is a validation of the conservative principle of marriage. That's an interesting twist. Let me go to Sam. Sam, welcome to the Triple H Morning Show, News Talk 98.7 WOKI. Sam, what do you think? Why do you think it? Sam? Once, twice? All right, let's go to Steve. Steve, welcome to the Triple H Morning Show. Steve, what do you think? Why do you think it?
Yeah, I would embrace, but the thing is, if we're talking about a right here, why are we talking about why aren't they mentioning these licenses? Rights are not licensed, and this whole issue centers around the benefits you get from government in relation to this license. If they were talking about freedom, if they were talking about equality, they'd be including the people beyond monogamous marriages. There are people all across this country who believe in polymarriages. I don't, but those people do. What about the Muslims? What about the traditional Mormons? None of those people are included in this. This whole thing is centered around giving a very vocal 3% of the population some Social Security survival benefits and things like that.
All right, so, but you did hear Olson's argument, right? You heard that it was beyond just whatever the civil benefits are. It really is a statement about the institution of marriage in society, above and beyond licensing and civil benefits. He's saying that marriage between two individuals. I hear your argument. Your argument is if it's about...
That's not what marriage is. That's what marriage is in my church. It might be what marriage is in your church. That's not what marriage is in every place of worship. That's not what marriage is in every corner of our society. If you really want it to be equal, get rid of the license and get rid of these benefits the government throws at the other parties involved in the marriage.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. 8:44, 16 before the hour. Interesting take on that. That if it's about liberty and about choice, then if a person decides that the way I choose to love is in a polyamorous relationship individuals and we are committed to each other, then how could you? Yeah, I get that. I get the argument, I should say. 8:44, 16 before the hour of 9 o'clock. Triple H Morning Show, News Talk 98.7 WOKI. And coming up next hour, I'll let you hear a little bit of Ted Olson on this. Let me go to Ronnie next. Ronnie, welcome to the Triple H Morning Show, News Talk 98.7 WOKI. I'm sorry, Ron. Welcome to the broadcast. What do you think, and why do you think it?
Well, actually, what's interesting is my name is Ronnie, but I do go by Ron, so you were right either way.
All right, cool.
I actually have a brother that came out after 50 years of trying to deny his homosexuality. And what's interesting is several of us actually sort of suspected that might have been true. He went through 2 marriages, has a child, and then he came out. We fully accepted him, had no problems with that. But I have an idea related to the whole marriage license that the last caller was just talking about.
Okay.
And that is, don't call it a marriage license. Simply call it a civil union license. Let marriage be a religious topic, and let civil unions be a civil topic. And then you can't argue about what the meaning of marriage is in the courts, because it's up to the churches to decide what they want to call their marriages.
That's interesting.
Separate the legality issues from the morality issues and the religious issues. So if your religion says that marriage is between a man and a woman, fine. That's your religious freedom. You can do that. But the state has a interest in what two people do with their property if they try to share it, in terms of all the tax laws and inheritance laws and those kind of things. So we can honor marriages in the traditional sense by allowing civil unions between a man and a woman, but we could also say, hey, if you want to have a civil union between two males or two females, well, then if you want to go through the legal ramifications of that, file for your license and have that.
Very interesting take on that. You're saying equalize the civil aspects of marriage,
right?
But the spiritual and social aspects of marriage, let people define those as they will.
Exactly.
All right, hey, thanks for the call. 656-8255, 1-800-951-8255. Pound 98.7 is a free call for customers of U.S. Cellular. My answer to my own question coming up in just a moment. Same-sex relationships by the numbers in the state. And then a new question, very simple question. Are you for or against same-sex marriage here in the state of Tennessee? Or wherever you're listening, because you could be listening. I just like to know, if you're listening to this broadcast this morning, are you for or against same-sex marriage? 8:47, 13 before the hour of 9 o'clock on the Triple H Morning Show. 8:51, Triple H Morning Show. I would not disown my kids. Chris, Dave, I would not. I would not disown my kids, period. I would not. David Earl, folk.
And yeah, I agree with you. You don't disown your kids. There's another circumstance, though, that is really kind of strange.
Which is?
That's the people who have been married for quite some time, and one spousal unit comes up and says, oh, by the way, I've decided I'm gay. Or, and I have heard of this and with people I'm familiar with, have discovered an affair going on, a homosexual affair going on. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, with children in the family,
That's one of the difficult parts of this. Here's some of the numbers. 57% of respondents to the CNN ORC poll released on Monday.
Yeah.
57% said they had a family member or close friend who was gay or lesbian. 57%.
I've off and on through the years, there have been a number of gay people that I've worked with. By the way, something is really, I think, really perverted. Really perverted.
What's that?
Perverted. People that sleep out on the sidewalk to get into the Supreme Court when you can hear the arguments are going to be posted up. They should picture people sleeping on the sidewalk. What in the world's matter?
This is gonna be.
I know it's history.
This is gonna be a big. This is a big case. Let me give you some of the numbers. There are 9 states that allow same-sex marriage: Connecticut, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, Vermont, Washington, and the District of Columbia. 1,100. That's the number of federal benefits to manage around marriage. There are 3 other countries where same-sex marriage is legal in some areas: Brazil, Mexico, and the United States. Percentage of people opposed to same-sex marriage in 1996, according to the Gallup poll, 68%. The percentage of Americans opposed to same-sex marriage in 2012, according to the same Gallup poll, 48%. The approximate percentage of Americans identifying as gay, lesbian, or bisexual. What percentage of the population identifies as gay, lesbian, or bisexual? Got a guess, Chris?
No.
Dave, got a guess?
I'd say 5%, maybe.
3.5%.
I was very close.
3.5%. The number of same-sex couple households, according to the U.S. Census Bureau.
25,000, maybe.
Chris, the number of same-sex couple households
with children you're talking about, or just
households?
Oh,
at least
more than that.
They live together, cohabitating, and they declare themselves to be a same-sex couple household to the Census Bureau.
No idea.
646,000.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about with children.
The growth of same-sex couple households in the United States in roughly the last 10 years. The growth in the last 10 years. Got a shot at it, Chris? Here's a stat for you. There has been an 80% growth in same-sex households in the last decade.
Here's an issue that and I think someone hit on it. Maybe in your you're talking about it earlier this morning. Maybe a civil union instead of a marriage, and let church define marriage and let the state define a civil union. Because as it stands now, in some cases, if it's a same-sex couple, whether you call them married or what, I'm not talking about that right now. But say one of that couple gets sick, the other might not even have privileges to see them in the hospital, or if they become incapacitated. You know, it's all kinds of legal stuff.
There are lots of civil issues. All right, and then the last number I would give you as we look at same-sex relationships by the numbers, number of same-sex couple households in the United States that have children.
That's right.
Got a shot at it? Chris, got a shot at it?
Nope.
I'd say 25,000 maybe.
115,000.
Wow. That many.
115,000. So those are the numbers. 856. Now, here's your new question. And in the next hour, I'm going to let you hear Ted Olson. And we have a very simple question now. I'm just polling you. Are you in favor of same-sex marriage? It's a simple question. 656-8255, 1-800-951-8255. Pound 98.7 is a free call for customers of U.S. Cellular. And, of course, you can hit me on Twitter at Hallerin. It's the Triple H Morning Show.